Ladies and people who are feeling a little bit down, Andy here, the Inner Winner Show. Let's fucking go. I'm in a little bit of a funk at the moment, if I'm honest. Haven't been feeling that good the last couple of days, and I thought I would follow some of my own advice and jump on here and take some action. So today's podcast is going to be all about when you're feeling down, take action, especially when you don't feel like it. I'll be a bit selfish here and talk about myself, which, yes, I know a lot of this podcast is me talking about myself, but we'll go super deep and really talk about myself and talk about like the meta stuff. One of the downsides, I guess, of being a content creator, especially someone who's into self-improvement or who's giving self-improvement advice, is you feel this pressure to always be on point and always be presenting a positive side of yourself. Yes, I know I have plenty of negative podcasts. I know I have plenty of podcasts complaining about lockdowns and COVID and masks and all that sort of bullshit. But for the most part, you feel this pressure to bounce back as soon as you're negative. Like you can be, it's almost like you have an allowance of negativity. You're allowed to be a little bit negative, but there is a limit to that. There's a ceiling to that. Let's say I sat here and for the next week, I do nothing but negative complaining podcasts. You guys are going to start losing a little bit of faith in me. You're going to be like, but I thought this guy had his shit together to some extent. I know that a big part of my whole shtick is me saying, hey, it's okay to suck. It's okay to not be perfect. You don't always have to have your shit together. But to some extent, I do as a content creator. You wouldn't listen to my advice if I fell apart. There's like a certain leniency there. Like I have a certain number of credits. I can use them up, like a certain number of tokens of times where I can have a bad day. And maybe there's like infinite token. Maybe these tokens keep regenerating, right? If there's enough time, I can have enough bad days. I can complain enough times. But if I was to do it too many times in a row for too long, you guys would lose faith in me. That's a lot of pressure, I'll be honest. And maybe it's something that I don't talk about a lot. And it is something I've noticed with a lot of content creators, a lot of YouTubers. They call that YouTube burnout. There's a lot of people who are into content creation. Any of you guys who do content creation right now will know what the fuck I'm talking about, especially if you're doing something crazy like a piece of content every single day, and doubly so if your mission is to help other people. That's one of the downsides of, and one of the stresses of content creation. But you guys know me. I'm someone that very much likes to focus on the action rather than the problem. If there's a problem, okay, what action am I going to take? And that's been something that served me very, very, very well throughout my life. I think that's one of my greatest strengths. One of the guys in the Winners Club, you're not going to know who you are, dude. Guy that starts with G. He is a G. He pointed out to me at some point, you always look for solutions. As in Andy, I always look for solutions rather than problems. One of my greatest strengths is that I will always look for solutions rather than focusing on the problem. So what is the solution here for me? Someone who's in a bit of a funk right now, not having a good time, feeling like, oh, but I got to, put on a brave face and jump in front of the microphone and do a good job. The solution, as always, is to take action. And one of my favorite actions that I talk about all the damn time is focusing on the positive. So I'm sitting here right now feeling negative, like I'm in a bad mood. I have all these pressures of content creation. And to be clear, I fucking love content creation. I love helping you guys. I love the underdog stories that you guys share with me. I love you guys to bits. So that's the negative stuff. But focusing on the positive is one of my greatest tools and one of our greatest tools, I guess, everybody listening. So what are some positives that you're going to see me right now walking through some positives so you can see me try and change my mindset. This is basically me. It's a very like unscripted, raw podcast, but you're going to see me live trying to work through some of my negativities and flip them into positives. So I'm in a bad mood. There's a lot of stress that comes from content creation and having to be on point and being a coach and helping other people and all that shit. What are some positives that I can look for? Well, first of all, the thing that I just said is a negative, there is a silver lining there. Me having to be on point and having to have my shit together and not really having many allowances to have a bad week, let's say. I can have a couple of bad days here and there, but I can't have a bad week. I really can't have a bad week. You know, unless my fucking mother dies or something, I'm sure you guys, it's not even you guys putting the pressure on me. I'll retract that entire statement. I'm sure if I had a bad week, you guys would absolutely fucking have my back. I know that. It's not even your guys' pressure. It's my own pressure. It's like the pressure to perform, the pressure to be a performer, the pressure to do a good job. Anyway, that's all tangential. What are some positives from being a content creator, from having that pressure to always be on point? It means when I'm having a bad day, when I'm having a couple of bad days like I am right now, I have a very, very easy, it's not easy, but a very quick fix. I can remind myself that, yo, I'm supposed to be the guy that has his shit together to some extent. Yes, I'm allowed to have my shit together or not have my shit together a little bit, fine. But I remind myself, this is my mission. This is what I signed up for. This is what I want to do. I want to help people. And so there is almost like a pressure there. The very thing that I'm saying is a negative pressure is also a positive pressure. It's like, no, come on, Andy. Like, you're the guy that has your shit together. Come on, jump on a camera, talk through this shit so people can get some benefit from it and can see you working through your issues. So then maybe they can go, oh shit, Andy's human. I guess he's not this fucking like perfect specimen of fucking having his shit together. Maybe it's okay if I don't have my shit together. Maybe I can just do what he did. So there's like a very positive pressure there. It's like, no, come on, dude. Like, I can give myself a positive pep talk and say, no, come on. Don't sit around negative for like 3 weeks. Whereas I've seen plenty of other people in the community, on my forums, like a lot of you guys will have like a bender for a couple of weeks or a month, or you go through like a 5-month rut. I went through a 5-month rut myself when I was first getting my shit together, like way before I ever started getting laid, before I did all this content and shit. And it's easier to get into a rut when you're not a content creator. So the very thing that I'm saying can be a negative is also an incredible positive. It's almost like you guys are a safety net for me. I know if I'm having too many bad days in a row, okay, dude, time to jump on camera, talk through your shit, get your shit together, do whatever it takes to get your shit back together because people are relying on you. It's a fucking beautiful thing. I got to be honest. And again, you're seeing me, if you're not watching the video, you're listening to me talk through this shit live with you right now and try and rationalize it in my head, try and look for the positives, try and look for the silver lining. The very thing that I said at the start of this podcast was giving me a bunch of, stress and negativity and pressure is also fucking beautiful. And I gotta say, I'm fucking grateful for you guys. I really genuinely am. I'm grateful that you guys listen to me. I'm grateful that there is that pressure there, that you guys want me to be the guy that has his shit together. That's a fucking beautiful thing when you think about it. And you guys just sit here, that sounded like a combative way to start the sentence. You guys are pretty much just sitting or walking around or whatever you're doing when you listen to this podcast, right? And you're hearing me, the content creator, me, Andy. It's very easy to assume, oh, this guy must just have a good life. He's got his shit together. Everything's perfect. It's very hard to see like the humanized moments, the moments where I am down, because I'm not going to share them with you because that would be fucking retarded. How would that help your life? I have to share them in little snippets like this right now. I think it's... You guys don't get to feel what I feel. And I wish you could. And I'm going to try and explain it to you right now. So maybe you can like half empathize with how fucking wonderful it is to have people give a shit what you have to say. That's incredibly validating in a way that I can't even begin to explain to you guys. Especially because when I first started improving myself, I never could have fathomed that anyone would give a fuck what I have to say. Why would that ever be a concept in my head? Like, rewind 3 or 4 years ago when I wasn't getting laid, when I was overweight, when I dressed like shit. I mean, I still dress kind of shit. I'm not the style guy, but fine. I dress better now. But back then, like, there was nothing you could have said to me that would convince me that anyone would ever give a shit about anything I have to say, or the opinions in my head, or my philosophies, or my morals, or my ethics, or my ideas, or my concepts, or my story. I never thought anyone would care about my story. I genuinely never thought they would. I thought that I would always just be the loser that was sitting off on the sidelines. Nobody gave a fuck. He's just, a sad, lonely little man who was going to die by himself and maybe have a couple of relationships, but they're probably all going to be abusive again and never find happiness and die with regrets. I never, ever, ever thought I would get to a point where people would pay me for my advice. Jesus fucking Christ. That they would subscribe to my YouTube channel, that people would subscribe to my podcast. I mean, this month we've had fucking 20,000 downloads of my podcast. How fucking insane is that? No, more than that. I'm full of shit because there's like another 6,000 on my YouTube. So that's just on Spotify and shit like that. So it's like 26,000 downloads of my podcast this month. Like, how fucking insane is that? Like, you guys actually give a shit what I have to say. I did a podcast recently with a guy called Toast, or Toast is his username on the forums. Shout outs to Toast. You're a fucking legend, man. You're a fucking legend. You've worked your ass off. I love that guy. But one of the things that he said in the podcast was, people respect you, Andy, and when you say something, it carries more weight. It has more momentum behind it. People assume that you must be correct or that it's well thought out. And that's a really fucking amazing place to be in. It's a very strange place to be. Excuse me. A very strange place to be in, I have to admit. But it's fucking magical. And I'm really fucking grateful. And so there you go. That's us. That's me. You've seen me do it live. I guess we're doing it together. Turning something that was a negative, this pressure from having to be a content creator, from having to have my shit together, into a fucking magical positive. And guess what I just did? I made myself feel better. Yes, I don't feel 100% better, but I feel 50% better just in that one little gratitude exercise there, finding something to be grateful. And I'm grateful to you guys. I really genuinely am grateful to you guys who listen, and you girls. There's quite a few women out there that are listening. I'm sure. Fucking shout outs to Georgie Wolf. She's a legend. She probably will listen to this. And Haley from Your Guide to Love. She's a fucking legend as well. Both those two women, I fucking love you too. You're fucking legends. Look at me saying fucking way too much. Neither of them swear anywhere near as much as me. They're both so like nice. I need to clean up my image. No, that's not true. I'm never going to clean up my image, but I guess some more things that I'm grateful for, and there are a million things. I could sit in this room and give you guys 100 different things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the ability to pay my own bills and not have to work a job, because God knows that was so much stress. For those of you who don't know, there'll be a bunch of you that don't know. Building this coaching business or this website, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call what I do here, this podcast, was fucking difficult. It was really fucking difficult. And for the rest of my life, it's going to crack me up, because people who come late to the game, which is going to be 99.999% of my audience going forwards, right? As my channel grows, as everything grows, most people who find your content are not going to be the ones who were there from the beginning. It's going to crack me up that most people will have no idea what I went through to get here. And that's not an indictment on them. That's not I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it is going to be so hilarious, the people who will think to themselves or even say to me, man, like, I envy you. I wish I had your position. You're so lucky. You get to just do podcasts and coaching. I went through so much fucking hell to get here. The days where I was working that warehouse job, shout outs to the OGs who know what I'm talking about. Remember, guys, leave a comment down below if you know what I'm talking about here, or email me if you want to. When I worked that fucking pool tiling job, that manual labor job, shout outs to any guys who remember those days. Sweating in the sun, fucking almost chopping my fingers off with like angle grinders and equipment that I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, and putting my back out for a while and having to take fucking pain medication and shit. Like, Jesus Christ. That warehouse job I did where I had to commute 3 hours a day, and I was writing articles on the train on my fucking phone, or taking my laptop, which was a shitty laptop because I couldn't afford a better one. So it only had like 30 minutes of battery life because it was old. And so I'd have to try and bang out an article or on my phone, or sneaking into the toilets, into the bathroom during work to try and write more because I just didn't have the time. I'd come home from that job at like 6 p.m. I'd leave at like fucking 6 a.m., get home at 6 p.m., be exhausted from a relatively manual labor job at that warehouse, and just have no fucking time or energy. And so I'd try and bang out articles. I wrote that article called like Hustling, something like, it was just like a fucking love letter to like my future self. I was like, I'm hustling right now. Like, I hope this works out. I pray to God there's a day where I don't have to go to work for an hour and a half commute in the morning and then an hour and a half in the evening and sweat my fucking dick off just so I can build this goddamn business up. At that point in time, I was taking like $20 an hour for coaching, which is just obscene to me now when my, cheapest coaching package is like $1,000 at this point in time. Jesus fucking Christ, those were the days. And so I'm grateful. The whole reason I'm telling this story is I'm fucking grateful on a level that you guys cannot fathom. I have so much gratitude for where I am right now. I am so grateful I am not where I was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was like 2 years ago I was working that job. Was it 2 years ago? maybe a year and a half. I don't think it's been that long. I think it's been like a year and a half. I'm grateful that I get to, yes, I have to work hard right now. Yes, coaching calls, I pour my heart and soul. You guys who've done coaching with me, you guys will fucking put your hand up and be like, yeah, this motherfucker like absolutely works his dick off for coaching. But like, that is way easier than having to work that manual labor job and with that commute and that feeling of, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And I have made it. Yes, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Yes, I don't earn anything near what I want to earn. Yes, I don't help anywhere near the amount of people I want to help. My content, my channel and this Spotify, this podcast is nowhere near the size I want it to be. We haven't built the community to where I want it to be. I'm definitely not satisfied with where we are. We've only just begun. We're like 1% of where we're going to go. One of the guys on the forums, playtime is over. Shout outs to him. He's another fucking legend. He said, I can't wait for the day where, we're in the future and we're changing lives and everyone gets to say like, oh, I remember when I was there at the beginning. Like, you guys, I fucking love you guys. This is very much the beginning. We've got amazing things in the future. I have no doubt that we can, go out and change the fucking world, change the world of dating, change the world of masculinity for sure. I have big plans for that, and definitely change the world of like entrepreneurship, if you want to call it that, or making money, starting your own business, content, whatever you guys are into. I want every one of you listening to get to the point I'm at, where you don't have to work a job. You can get laid whenever you want. Maybe you're in a relationship with an awesome chick. Any women listening, you're in a relationship with an awesome dude, and you do your own shit, whether that's like an art business or content creation or a fucking podcast or sales, or even if you're just doing your normal job, but you've gotten yourself a promotion, or 2 promotions. Maybe you're the manager of the job. That's what I want for all of you guys, because this position that I'm in right now feels fucking lovely. I have to be honest. So, I started this podcast saying I'm in a bad mood. I got all this stress. There's other personal stuff that I'm going through right now, which maybe I'll probably talk about in future. I'm someone that likes to share this kind of shit because I think it's important that I show you guys like the shit that I'm going through, and don't try to put on this facade and this persona of like, look at Andy, he's got his shit together, everything's perfect, you don't have to worry about me. Like, bad sentence. I don't want you guys to worry about me, but you guys know what I mean. Like, and I feel better now. I don't feel perfect, but I feel grateful. And that is a hell of a lot better than feeling sad, depressed, down, frustrated, stressed, pressure. Like, feeling grateful is a beautiful feeling. And so I think we'll start wrapping up here. But the point that I really want to get across to you guys is, if you're feeling down, take some action. That's what this podcast was. This podcast wasn't just me coming on here to like rant and talk about my feelings. I very deliberately decided, okay, I need to sit down and do a podcast because that will make me feel better. That is me taking action, and these guys will get something out of this. I really hope you guys have gotten something out of this. This was a very from the heart podcast. And if you're in a bad mood yourself, or you're feeling a bit down, you're in a rut, whatever it is, like, just take some action. Honestly, even if that's just going onto my forums, I'll leave a link. I've just made a note to myself. I'll leave a link in the description below to my forums. Just jump on my forums and just say, I'm having a bad day. Like talk about what you're going through. That in itself is taking action. And then it's very important that at the end of that, do what I've done here. Come up with some things that you're grateful for. Show yourself a little bit of gratitude. Show the world around you some gratitude. Even if you don't feel like there's a lot to be grateful for, say at the very least, I'm grateful for you guys on my forums. I'm grateful for you guys on Andy's forums. I guess it's our forums. I'm grateful for you guys on these forums for listening to me, right? For being there for me, for giving a shit what I have to say. I'm just a fucking random nobody, probably on the other side of the world from most of you, and you all give a shit about me, and that's really fucking nice. Just say that if you have nothing else to be grateful for. I promise taking action makes you feel better. I'll wrap up here. If you're in a rut and you want to hit me up for coaching, just, I'll make a note here. Let me make a note now. Just send me a message or whatever. We can do some coaching if you're in a bad mood yourself. I definitely don't want anyone to be fucking feeling miserable. But at the very least, if you can't afford coaching, I got the Winners Club and shit like that. But if you can't afford coaching, at the very least, just jump on my forums, post a thing saying, I'm feeling bad. Here's what I'm grateful for. Even just lie on your bed, close your eyes, and think of 15 things that you're very grateful for. I promise that will make you feel better. Now, as I always end these videos, guys, go out and crush your goals.